morning, Brooklyn class, and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Homeschool with Carly, where I share a lesson every single day that you can either just watch or follow along. And today's video you are not going to want to miss because we are going to make rain clouds. Okay? So for this experiment, you just need a couple of materials. The first material is a glass of water. Okay? So I filled my glass all the way to the brim. The next item that you're going to need is shaving cream, okay? So I'm just using the plain old Barbasol shaving cream. And the final material is you're going to need an assortment of food coloring, okay? So you can choose to use all of the colors for this experiment or just one color, okay? So let's get started making our rain cloud. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take that giant glass of water, okay, and get it prepared and place it in front of you. Next, you're going to need to grab that shaving cream, all right? We're going to shake it up and we're going to put it right on top of the water. Now, it is important to note that water is more dense than shaving cream. Now, shaving cream we know is that puffy, light material, right? So it's nice and puffy and light, and it is less dense than water, so it's going to float, okay? So I'm going to shake it up, and I'm going to place it directly on top of the water, okay? So you want to get a good amount so that it's nice and puffy above the glass, okay? So we pretty much have a good amount, okay? So this is going to act like our cloud, okay? So we gotta make a rain cloud, right? So we're gonna need that assortment of colors. Now, for this experiment, I'm just going to use the blue, okay? Because I really want you to get the idea of a rain cloud, okay? But maybe at home, you wanna make a rainbow rain cloud. That's up to you. So for the first step in this experiment, we're going to take this blue food coloring and start dripping it around the top of the shaving cream, okay? And let's see what happens. So I'm going to start by placing some blue around the edges and around the front, around the back. And would you look at that? It's already starting to rain. So I'm going to bring you a little closer so you can see. Look how cool that is. Do you see the rain coming down? Right? And if I were to keep adding more, it's going to start coming on all the sides. Whoa, it's kind of like a storm in the back over here. This is extremely sensory. Okay, so I could stare at this for hours. I mean, this is really cool. It looks like a storm is happening inside the jar. And if you look, the colors are coming down in strand form, almost like a string, right? Can you see that? That it kind of looks like little strings coming down inside the jar. That is amazing. So we just made a rain cloud. Now, it is important to understand how this is able to happen. Why is this happening? So, let's talk about the water cycle for a moment. Okay, so on our Earth, we have tons of lakes and rivers, right? And so what happens is the sun is shining down. The sun is really hot. So when the sun is shining on all this water, right, the water then starts to evaporate. And sometimes you'll notice if you go outside to a spot that you usually go to that has water, on certain days, like really hot summers, you'll see that the water level dropped. That is because water evaporates in the heat, okay? So when the water then gets evaporated, it goes up into the air and it turns into water vapor. Now, the best way to describe water vapor would be humidity, right? You know when you go out on a really hot day and you feel like you're sweating because it's so hot and you just feel sticky? That's humidity, right? So the sun shines down on the lakes and rivers, the water evaporates, goes into the air, turns into water vapor, much like humidity, right? Goes up, way up into the sky, and all these little water vapors, picture millions and millions of little dots of water, are sitting directly on top of us, above us, in sky, right? And creating clouds. When enough of these water vapor dots or droplets are in the air, they form clouds, okay? Much like this white cloud right here. Eventually, clouds become so heavy with water, right? We learned about density, but water, even though it is what it is and it's these tiny little droplets, imagine millions and millions of tiny little droplets. That is not going to be light. That's going to be super duper heavy. So eventually that water has to go somewhere. And then it rains, right? So much like our little project we did, we filled up the cloud with what we used, which we were considering water, but it was just using food coloring, right? So when we filled the cloud with the food coloring, what ended up happening is when the cloud got really, really dense and filled with the food coloring, it began to rain. And that is how a rain cloud is formed. And you can create a rain cloud in your own home just using 3 items. So I hope you enjoyed this experiment, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Bye!